Yo, what's up? Welcome to episode 198 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and I'm joined as always by my bestie, Woody V. What's happening, man?
Good to be here, man. Long weekend just finished. You have fun?
It was good, yeah. Went to a few Australia Day celebrations last night with the family, which was good. And been so hot in Sydney, hasn't it? So yeah, I'm sitting there sweating a little bit now with the fan on behind me. But yeah, looking forward to kick it with you again, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Nice. Well, just before we get into it, just a reminder to please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks so much for everyone's support the last week. We had some good feedback with the last episode there, and hopefully we've got some fun stuff installed today. So, yeah, why don't you take away with the jersey? I know exactly what that one is you're wearing, and yeah.
And we are Throwback Hoops, right?
Mm.
So I'm just gonna come back to you after I get up.
So Woody's standing up, rocking the Brisbane Bullets, number 2. Torrey Craig jersey. I know you were pleased to pull that one back out when the Kings signed him there, and yeah, nice jersey.
Thanks, man. And the reason I wore the jersey today, obviously very topical, Torrey Craig, but what I say last week or the week before when we were on this show and Sydney signed him, the last time he was in this league was 12 years ago. So I did some digging, Robbie, and that was 2014, right? So Larry Kesselman took over the NBL in 2015. So you think of Torrey Craig, he's almost a throwback to what the league is today, right? How much has the league changed since Torrey Craig first debuted in this league to where it is today? So many more fans, younger fans, people that were 10 and now 20 watching the league, right? Probably didn't get a chance to see who Torrey Craig was previously, right? Yeah. So I thought, let me take this opportunity to give a little bit of a bio about him, and then I'll ask you a few questions as well that I want to get your feedback on, right? So Torrey Craig was born in 1990, he's 35 years of age. He went to college at USC Upstate. He was undrafted in the 2014 draft, and his first professional job was with the Cairns Taipans. From 2014 to 2016. He then went on to the NZBL, played with the Wellington Saints. He then came back and played one really, really strong year with the Brisbane Bullets, his jersey I'm wearing right now. In 2017, he went to the Gold Coast Rollers. I think back then it would have been the QBL potentially, Robbie, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, potentially. And then straight from the QBL to the Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns twice, Indiana Pacers, Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, and back to the Sydney Kings, 12 years after he made his debut at the Cairns Taipans. He was the NBL Best Defensive Player of the Year in 2017, so that year at Brisbane was huge for him, right? He was All-NBL second teamer that year. He was also the NZBL scoring champion that year. He was the NZBL MVP. He was the NZBL's most outstanding guard in 2015. You talk about how much the game has changed over the last 10 years, right? Would you put him in that guard position now? You could probably play him at the 3 and the 4, and in Gorgian's case, maybe even at the 5 in certain scenarios. So it shows how much the game has changed since he first was here in the NBL. But he's the poster boy of what it takes to use the NBL as a springboard to be successful. And what a great story it is for him to have. And you know what? He's never played anywhere else. He's never played in Europe. He's never played in the G League. He's only ever played in Australasia and the NBA, right? And he's come back to the NBL after, a storied career in the NBA. So firstly, how good is it to see that? And how have you seen his first few games with the Sydney Kings?
Well, it's got to be some sort of record, isn't it? Someone coming back as an import with that amount of time. It would have to be, right?
No, it is.
Sort of fact-checking that, it would have to be, right? So,
have to be,
yeah, first off, that's very cool. When he kind of came here, like you said, it was his first professional job. He was, I'm not going to say a boy. He was, in his early adult stages. Now he's a man. He's in his, mid 30s now. And yeah, like a really respectable NBA career. Like you said, all those teams he played with, 500 plus games. Did he actually play a game this year? He finished off last year and didn't get a spot, did he? So he's one of those guys like that. But in terms of how he's looking coming back, he's fitting in really well. I kind of see him as a bit of a jack of trades guy now. He's to me, he's really improved his outside shot. I think that's something he had to do in the NBA as kind of a 3-and-D type guy, hit those corner threes and everything. But I've been impressed with his passing. He's been quite unselfish on a number of occasions, fast break, plays and things like that. And just a professional, professional basketball that's, really going to help his team. And you know how high I am in the Sydney Kings team, Woods, and as much as Bull Qual did have probably a better year than a lot of people were expecting this year, I think this is definitely an upgrade, right? The fact that he can sort of do it a bit more on both ends, maybe than what Bull Qual could do there. So yeah, exciting times ahead for the Kings for sure.
Totally. And Robbie, just before we move on, right? He came in as a rookie here to Cairns, raw, a bit rough around the edges. He comes back here as a 35-year-old, mature, knows his game, right?
Yeah.
Knows how the FIBA game's officiated, knows how the NBL game is officiated, basically, right?
Yeah.
And he's come back here with all the lessons he's learned, played with some terrific players along his journey,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And then
He's
you can
always
see
rocked
that.
the headband well, hasn't he?
Oh, for sure, man. Just like me, right? And he's got that maturity, right? You
Yeah.
can see that now, and
Yeah.
just awesome to see. Great story.
Yeah, 100%. No, your boys did really well getting him. So, no, I like that one. Nice throwback jersey there. And, of course, rocking the Hawks hat after their third win in a row today.
Yeah, man, I had to. I changed the hat at the last second, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk a little bit about them later. But, yeah, good win for the Hawks there. So, all right, I'll stand and show you who I'm rocking today. So, as I say, when I show the current players, I'm not going to talk about the full buyers and stuff for the NBA guys, but pretty cool jersey, this one. Don't think there's a lot of these ones going around, and I'll show you who I'm rocking today.
Yep. And so for all our audio listeners that can't see, Robbie is wearing the Indiana Pacers number 12 Johnny Furphy jersey. Wow, I didn't even know he had that. I did not know you had that.
Yeah, I had to get that one right. So,
dope, man,
I've
dope.
told the story several times. Maybe I'll tell it again. But yeah, he was someone that I had the pleasure of commentating. I think it was my second year of commentating NBL One East when he was playing for the in the NBL One East for I'm blanking on the name now. That's going good. For the COE.
COE.
So COE, and they change their team every year. For those that don't know, so you get the young crop of guys, and they sort of move on to the next team. So yeah, Woods was out there that day. It was a Sunday lunchtime game at Hills, and I was probably more excited to see Ben Henschel, who was playing that same game. And he'd already signed with the Wildcats and was excited about that. But it was this guy Johnny Furphy that came out there to just put on a show, and it was always confusing because there's two Furphys on that team. There's not related, which is what's the chances of that, right? One's Victorian, one's Tasmanian, but Johnny Furphy was just the standout player on the court that week and just threw down a massive dunk, which is all over YouTube. You just need to search that Johnny Furphy NBL One East dunk, and you'll hear me going crazy on the mic there. But yeah, really impressed with him. I'm not going to talk too much because we're actually going to do a bit of Aussies in the NBA segment. He's one of the guys we're going to talk about, but what a great opportunity he's had this year, though, Woods, with all those injuries to that Indiana Pacers team. And, he started quite a lot of games now. Just quickly, what are your thoughts been on his play so far this year?
I think it's been really great for him to get that opportunity. He's very raw, right? He's got to make some mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And he's in a situation now where he's allowed to do that. For example, he started today, I haven't checked his court time, but I think he was pulled really early for making some stupid mistakes. He played 16 minutes, right? And that's been the kind of theme that's been followed since he's been starting, right? Sometimes he plays well, he gets to 20, 30 minutes. Other times he just gets pulled, he plays the 15, 16 minutes. But Indiana is in a situation now where they can really develop these youngsters, right?
Yeah.
So
still such a young guy as well. He played that 1 year at COE, had a year in Kansas. And if you remember rightly, Woods, he actually slipped a bit in the draft. People were thinking, this guy's going to maybe go, maybe even early 20s. And he slipped through, a little bit on that day 2 of the draft that they do now, which is not quite as exciting as the day 1 of the draft there. But I think Indiana have found a real player there. You can tell he's very well respected. I've heard Halliburton say some good stuff about him and Pascal Siakam as well. So they've kind of endorsed his play and everything else like that. And he's someone that seems to just be picking stuff up and getting that opportunity. So we'll definitely talk a little bit about
I got a few more tidbits about him. I'll save it for later. All right.
Nice.
Yes.
But if you haven't seen that dunk, YouTube the NBL One East dunk by Furphy. It was a good one.
Statue of Liberty dunk, and you might see me on the sideline.
Might see you rocking some random jersey in the crowd. So, all right, nice. Well, card of the week. I wasn't sure. I actually had a big delivery come today. Woods, I'm talking 30 plus auto cards.
Okay, tell me, man.
Shout
What's
out
going
to
on?
Stu on our mates from the sports folks who'll be loving that. But I picked an old one. It's a guy that I'm a big fan of, right? So the card I'm showing today, it's a beautiful looking card actually. It's a Panini 2015-2016 NBA Game Gear Hawks auto card. So Game Gear, and it actually says on the back, it says the enclosed game-worn material worn as a member. So as of the New York Knicks, where he's a member of this one, so it's actually been worn in a game, this material in this card. But this is an Atlanta Hawks card, number 32 of 49 numbered, of Mr. Tim Hardaway Jr. Look how nice that card is. Well, it's actually a bit of game-worn jersey from a New York, uniform that he wore the year before he joined the Hawks there. Really nice card. It's one of those really thick cards. It's probably, I'd say it's maybe 4 times the thickness of a normal card there. So you see him for the Hawks there. But yeah, really nice looking card. So I guess with a bit of segue from that one, I know we're both fans of THJ there. We've talked a little bit about him in the past.
Like last
we were
week.
both, yeah, exactly. We were both big fans of his father growing up, right? I mean, I love watching Tim Hardaway Sr. playing for those Golden State Warriors teams and then the Miami teams in the late 80s and 90s there. But what's your thoughts on Tim Hardaway Jr.? He seems to have played himself pretty well. He was good last year with Detroit, but he's really fit in well in Denver this year.
Longevity. I said it last week. You talk about the Michigan team, right? And if you told me Trey Burke and guys like that would not be in the league and Tim Hardaway Jr. still would be back then, I wouldn't have believed that, right?
Yeah.
So for him, it's just shooting, and he's just improved throughout the years, and he's just he can shoot off the dribble. He's a catch and shoot guy. He's an above average defender. He's really improved that aspect of his game. He can be. I mean, early on in his career, you couldn't put him on the court because he was such a liability on that end of the floor.
He's sneaky big as well. I think that's the thing, isn't he? He's got some size on him. And well, I'm always, I'm a Michigan Wolverines college, basketball fan, so I always pay close attention to these guys and kind of have a bit of a soft spot throughout the careers there. But yeah, great that he's still doing it after all this time. And he's building up that bit of a resume of lots of teams he's played for. I enjoyed those. A couple of years we had him on the Hawks. Was it one, maybe 2 years there? But yeah, what a nice looking card, right? A lot of these ones, they have what they call relics on these cards. And this one actually says this is enclosed as a game-worn material worn as a member of the New York Knicks. So I thought that was a pretty cool one. And it's signed and it's numbered as well. So nice little one there to show.
Funny you mention him today because I was going through all my jerseys to look for this Torrey Craig jersey. And I went through and I found Tim Hardaway Sr., Golden State, and Tim Hardaway Jr., New York Knicks just hanging next to each other. But that's pretty cool, man. Right?
That's cool, right? I'm trying to think if I've got any father-son combos. I'd have to have someone in there. I mean, I haven't got a Bronny James one, even though I've now got a Bronny Senior one.
You got a tiny Pinder jersey?
I don't have a tiny Pinder jersey, no. Actually, that might be something I have to work out. Do I have a jersey of a father and a son sort of thing? I'd have to, right? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I feel like I kind of have to there. So yeah, pretty cool. So all right, well, appreciate that one, Woods. So
I got ball and ball as well, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's true. Nice. Well, yeah, a bit of a throwback Torrey Craig, Brisbane Bullets jersey. Welcome back to the league, and a modern day Johnny Furphy jersey. I know you're liking this one too.
Yeah, man, that's the white ones are always fresh. Just don't go out anywhere like where you're gonna pour some barbecue sauce or anything on that, 100%,
right? 100%. You've got to sort of wear a big bib if you're going to be eating something with some sauce
for
on
sure.
it. So, for sure. All right, well, yeah, plenty to talk about as always. I thought we'd start off with some NBA this week, Woods. Last week, I think we both kind of enjoyed having a bit of a chat about Jock Landale and that season he's having for the Memphis Grizzlies this year. So I thought I'd continue that theme, and I've given you a bit of homework. So I've chosen 3 Aussies in the NBA. We've always liked doing the Aussies in the NBA segment over the years, haven't we? So we're going to talk about 3 guys, and how they're sort of going this season. All 3 of them played today, and in fact, I think I read that there were 7 games today, and all 7 games featured at least one Aussie in the game, which I thought was pretty cool. So we're going to talk about 3 guys this week, Woods. We're going to talk about Dyson Daniels, Tyrese Proctor, and Johnny Furphy. So maybe I'll start off with Dyson Daniels. So before you get into your thoughts, a little bit on Dyson. He's averaging close to 12 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, and 6.2 assists, also 2.3 stocks, so combined steal blocks. So steal numbers are a little bit down from last year, but that was nearly 3 a game. Interesting percentages, with some good and some bad here. So he's shooting 50% from the field, which is the first time he shot over 50 from the field in his career. Unfortunately, his 3-point percentage is 12%. So he did make one today. First 3 he's made in something like 5 weeks, and the bench looked pretty thrilled about that. And he's played 46 games this year. Also shooting 62% from the free throw line. Not amazing for a shooting guard. So obviously for me, the negative is the 3-point regression. He's literally made the first one, as I mentioned today, in 5 weeks. Honestly, Woods, I'd say 12% is unacceptable for a shooting guard in the NBA, and probably for any position in the NBA. But the fact that he's a shooting guard mainly, that's unacceptable. His points and his steals are down from last year. However, his rebounds and his assists are up quite a bit. His assist numbers have been really good with Trey out, and obviously no longer with the team. So, yeah, that's probably the main thing I've been impressed with, his assists, and I love the way he gets to the basket there. Give me some thoughts. What are your thoughts on Dyson Daniels in year 2 in Atlanta, and how's he going?
The steals number is a bit of a mirage because it steals, you get 3 here, 3 there. Sometimes you'll get a deflection and the numbers will just vary from time to time.
Yeah.
He's still a defensive beast, right? Let's not get that twisted.
for sure.
I mean, the worst shooting percentage in 3-point shooting percentage in NBA history, this will be, right? Minimum of 60 attempts. He was 7 from 60 something. I can't remember the exact number, but it was absolutely atrocious. I think he was as low as below 11% for a while. He did hit that one today, but there's this big thing. He doesn't even want to try and make an attempt from beyond the arc anymore. Everyone's like, is this another Ben Simmons? I'll tell those people he shot 34% from beyond the arc last year, right?
Yeah.
He is lacking a bit of confidence because when you're shooting 60 and you're making 7, you're going to get it into your head, right?
Yeah.
But what I can say to Dyson is you shot 34% last year on 2 to 3 attempts. I can't remember exactly. I think it might have been 2.3 attempts a game.
He at least kept the defense honest, right? Whereas
Something like that.
Games, he hasn't even attempted it this year.
Yeah, give or take 2 attempts a game, he was shooting 34%, right?
Yeah.
Which is more than acceptable, and we'd take that for the rest of his career, right? So what has happened all of a sudden this season for that? It's just a lack of confidence, and I also think it's reps. You've got to get into the gym and you've got to get up as many shots as you can, right? And work with people. Is it your technique? Is it something that's changed? What were you doing right last year that's not working this year?
Can I give you a reason on that? Well, I think might have come to play with.
I mean, you're a shooter, so talk to me, bro.
Well, the name's Trae Young.
Yeah.
Trae Young, one of the absolute best passers in the NBA. I mean, he's still almost underrated for how good his passing is, despite leading the league in assists. He would drive the middle of the court or drive, sort of down the baseline. He would find people in really good position. Not just find him in good position, he would put that ball in their chest,
shooter's pocket.
I always say that to you as a shooter. I don't want the ball down low. I'm a tall guy.
You've yelled at me over the years so many times.
Yeah, I have.
Right?
And that's the thing. I think Trae would get everyone on the team perfect looks right. I think that might be a difference this year. They've played with quite some unnatural point guards. He's been handling a bit. Nor's been handling a bit. And maybe just not getting that delivery that he's had. And that probably doesn't explain a 26% increase in percentage, a decrease in percentage there, but it might explain it a little bit, I would have thought. But 3-point shot aside, how else have you seen him? And his passing has been really good lately.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like his ability to distribute the ball from the shooting guard. In fact, I looked at a metric today. He's the best distributor from the shooting guard position in the league.
Wow,
right?
That's good. Yeah.
And his metrics are unbelievable as a playmaker. Not just assists. It's talking about hockey assists, right?
Yeah.
The passes.
Yeah, love the hockey assist.
Yeah, and his ability to just really create for others and himself. He gets into the paint. He's really good at those runners right now.
Yeah.
I just think that he needs to just keep the defense honest, as you said, right? And
maybe seeing that, albeit a 1 3-point make today, Woods, there was maybe 3 of the 4 games before that he didn't even take one, and you can't do that, right? That's teams are going to sag off him like he's one of these old school, 7'1" centers that basically couldn't walk and shoot a gun at the same time together. So I'm glad he's made one. He's got the duck off his back a little bit, and like you say, keep working on it, repetitions. Working with the person that handles the ball more and just getting those shots up. But I'm not going to sort of let that spoil another good season.
What a big dunk from Dyson Daniels today, though.
Yeah.
One of the best dunks of the year, bro. He cocked that shit back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
By the way, you watched the game today, and of course we listened to the Hawks commentators. How much did Dominic hate that center for Indiana, the big white dude?
Mikal, what's his name?
Yeah, I forget his name. He was complaining about him all game, saying he couldn't catch, he couldn't run. I'm like, man, Dominic's going hard on this big white center.
Yeah, Mikal Potter, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
he wasn't great, but I think Dominic was being a little bit harsh. Right? But no, look, very well. He starts all the games. Now, like I said, 50% from the field is good there, and I like it. His rebounds and his assists have gone up. So, and look, 2.3 stocks. Yeah, it's down on the 3, just steals alone last year, but he's still, an amazing defender now. I'm always confident. I always like when we play New York and you have him on a guy like Jalen Brunson. That's the matchup I like, right? You got a guy who's not that athletic and not that tall.
Yep.
Could you imagine Dyson Daniels guarding you full court? He's got such good instincts, length, long arms. He would be a tough night out, wouldn't he? So
I mean, in international competition, you always have that big guy, right?
Yeah.
That Dyson's going to take that assignment on as well, right?
Hopefully all 3 guys we're talking today are in that next Olympic campaign. Look, 2 of them I'd say definitely will. Furphy's maybe a bit of a wild card one there. But let's go on to that second one. We're talking about Tyrese Proctor, so the Cleveland Cavaliers rookie. Not as, obviously a bit more modest numbers than Dyson's got, but he's averaging 5 and then he's averaging 1.2 rebounds and assists. Shooting splits of 38% from the field, not great. 34 on three, okay. 84 on free throws, so that's pretty solid. He's played 33 games there, so the numbers don't blow you away, do they? And that field goal percentage is a bit low, as I mentioned. But I reckon he's carved a pretty solid role off the bench here with his 3-point shooting. He's made more than 30 plus threes this year, averaging a made 3 a game. He hit 2 off the bench today, so I've been pretty impressed with how he's going. Look, it's hard to find a role on a really competitive team like Cleveland. They were a 60-win team last year, but he's getting on. I think he's making a difference when he's out there. How have you seen him?
Yeah, look, firstly, I mean, I got to give a shout out to Olgun because I was thinking this for a while, but Olgun said this recently. Really nice to see a product from Sydney.
Yeah.
Getting to the NBA and making things happen. All the guys come from Melbourne or Perth or wherever. It's not often that we see a Sydney guy go on to the
Can I ask
NBA.
quickly, Woods, before you go on? His bio says that his dad played for the Sydney Kings. Is there any truth in that?
I'm gonna have to
first I'd heard of it. I read something today. I'm like, I don't think that's right, but who knows? We could have missed that one. But yeah.
Unless it's a different surname, right? It's possible.
We'll have to get on to Mr. McQuaid. He's the historian of the Sydney Kings. We'll make
all right, Matt. I know you're listening right now, so tell us if that's true.
Back,
where did you read this?
It was somewhere on Google, and if it's on Google, it's true, right? So yeah. I'm wondering if it meant he played in Sydney. But anyway, Matt McQuaid, hit us back with that news. Continue.
Yeah, for sure. And the second thing I want to say is, how nice is it that you've got like one draft class with four of your homies: Cooper Flagg, Con Kneppel, Sion James, Kamen Malawak, right? All of them went to Duke together, right? So when you're
isn't getting on the court though, but yeah, true.
Yeah, I know, but when you're going through this journey, you're all rookies, right? How often in NBA history, there's been a few occasions I've looked into it, but having 4 of your best friends going through that journey together. And he's spoken openly about whenever he's on the road and visiting the cities that they're playing in, they meet up, they stay at each other's places, they lean on each other for advice. What's worked for one, what's not worked for the other. So that's really been a big thing for him. But as you mentioned, the opportunity on this team is tough, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that Darius Garland's had some injuries and things like that, it's given him opportunity, right? And
Ty Jerome had a lot of those minutes last year, didn't he? He's now no longer with the team and having a pretty down year with the Grizzlies when he's actually playing. So opportunity that sort of poses that question. I mean, if you get drafted, right, what's the best situation like? Because we've seen some of these guys get drafted to lowly teams, and he might get more minutes and more opportunity. But for me, I think this is a great opportunity. You're going to a team, as I said, 60-win team last year, a little bit down maybe on where people thought, but I think they've actually got the longest win streak in the NBA at the moment, or maybe 5 wins, so they're coming good. But do you think it's a really good fit that he goes to a team like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mitchell, talk to me about his, playing next to Donovan
Mitchell.
Huge.
A shout out to Kane Pittman, a friend of ours, been on this podcast before. Really love the work he's doing. He had a great interview with Tyrese Proctor recently, and he talked about Don and how he's just been a sponge to Donovan Mitchell, and they've become so tight, and he's taken him under his wing. We talked about this offline the other day, and he spoke to me about how much of a good guy you think Donovan Mitchell is, what a great mentor he would be. But I've done some further digging, listened to a few other interviews, and just heard a few things. And Larry Nance Jr. has been the guy for him, right? In this locker room, that's really helped him, right? And go back to Larry Nance Jr. and the work and the help he's done with Dyson Daniels, right?
So good.
Yeah. So we know how much of a great locker room guy he is, and he's just been a sponge, right? Who's the cat from Miami who's injured at the moment, man? Who plays for Cleveland? The shooter.
Who played with Miami before?
Yeah.
Man, I'm usually the one blanking on these names. Yeah, I know who you think of.
Yeah. Anyway, he's been injured, and basically, what he said is I want to come into the gym as early as possible, right? And Tyrese Proctor noticed that this guy's been coming to the gym so early, even when he's injured, just to try and get back. And he's like, I want to come in earlier, right?
Yeah.
And he's just been coming to the gym early, working hard. He's got a good work ethic, good mindset.
You're talking about Max Strus, right?
Max Strus, right?
Yeah.
So him and Max obviously spend a lot of time in the gym together, and he's Max is just coming in early, working hard, trying to get fit to get back onto the court, right? And I've noticed what he's been doing, and I want to get to the facility earlier than Max, right? And be working out. So that says a lot about his attitude and what his work ethic. So yeah.
I think he may be one of our key players coming into that next Boomers campaign, Woods. We know Paddy Mills is, I think we all thought he might have been playing somewhere this year. He's clearly, happy in retirement life now.
Yeah.
Tyrese Proctor is the future with the ball in his Boomers teams, handling the ball there. And I love it because we know if there's one weakness on some of these players, if I talk about guys like Josh Green, Matisse Thybulle, Dyson Daniels, what's the one thing that comes to mind when you hear about those guys, Woods?
Dogs.
No, I'm talking in a negative connotation that comes to them. None of them can shoot the ball, right? None of them are natural shooters, right? Josh Giddey's improved. He's still not a natural shooter. Tyrese Proctor can shoot the ball. There's no doubt about that. So he's going to be super important in those Boomers campaigns that, hopefully we can get some. The fact that he's getting these minutes is good. He's not someone, how do you sort of rate, without going into it, someone like Rocco Zikarsky, who got drafted and still hasn't, made an appearance. He's just a fixture in the G League. So much better with someone like Proctor that's getting these reps and getting these important minutes, learning a system against some, great opposition players. So really good future for the Boomers coming up, I think, for him.
And a guy like Tyrese Proctor, he's ready to take that next step professionally. You mentioned someone like Rocco Zikarsky, who's a few years away.
Yeah.
Proctor looks like he's ready, right? So
that extra year at college probably helped as well, I think, and having those big games as well helps when you're playing with Duke. So nice and Woods. We'll finish off with the last one. The guy who I'm rocking his jersey today, the guy we've sort of spoken a little bit about, but Johnny Furphy. So as of today, he's averaging 5.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, which is pretty solid, 0.9 assists, so not huge there, and he's played 29 games, Woods. So shooting splits are interesting. 49 from the field, good. 36 from the three-point line, not bad. 50% from the foul line, absolutely horrendous. And funny about that, he's actually made 2 of 2 free throws today, Woods, and that actually put him at 50%. So he was under 50%, which for someone that's a great shooter, that's a pretty strange stat there, I would have thought. So, he started 14 of his last 15 games, which, that's amazing, right, given he hardly got on at all last year on that, Pacers team that went so deep there. And his last 10 games, he's averaging 7 points and close to 7 rebounds. So the rebounding is the thing that stands out for me. We saw him get a couple of nice steals as well in that game today. But how have you seen Mr. Furphy's season?
Kind of stole my thunder there. I've been watching a lot of the Indiana games just because he's been starting, right?
Yeah.
And I've just wanted to see how he's been performing. And his ability to get rebounds is awesome. Long rebounds as well, right?
Yeah.
He's got a knack for where the ball's going to go. And I've noticed that about him, right? He's trying to keep himself involved in the game because in that offense, he's often standing still in the corner, not getting the ball. And that's the way it's going to be for a while, right?
Yeah.
But as I said, he's a project player. He's raw. And being in a situation like this, you talked about how good a situation is for Tyrese Proctor to be in on a good team with veterans there that can assist him along the way. I think for Johnny Furphy to be, he's actually got those veterans still. He's got Pascal Siakam, guys in the locker room, but so many guys are injured. Right? Great coach, right? So many guys are injured right now. So this is almost like a throwaway year for the Pacers, which allows him to develop accordingly. So it's great for him. Yeah,
it's been great to see. I think, I was probably a little bit concerned maybe at the start of the year that he wasn't going to get those minutes, but it's been some of those more, obviously we knew Halliburton wasn't there, but it's guys like, Obi Toppin that's missed quite a lot of games now, and, Nembhard, Neesmith, these sort of guys have missed time as well, haven't they? Siakam seems to have been pretty the constant sort of guy there, but great to see him getting the minutes, and really enjoy seeing it out there. I also enjoy that, people see a white boy and they're still surprised when he throws down a massive dunk. He caught a couple of bodies in the summer league this year because I think people saw him like, who's this white guy, the funny looking hair sort of thing, and he just rises up and throws down big dunks on people, which is great to see.
And that free throw shooting will sort itself out.
Let's hope so. It's not a big sample size, is it?
But not at all.
It's still strange, though, isn't it? You think someone like him, it's a pretty skilled player, but that's an easy one to fix. I'm sure they'll work that out. So
outside shots looking good.
Yeah, nice. Well, any more thoughts on these 3 guys we talked about today? It was actually fun doing that, wasn't it? Going through their stats and look, 3 differing players. Dyson is almost a veteran now, isn't he? Which is strange to say. And you've got sophomore in Johnny Furphy and a rookie in Tyrese Proctor there. So that was fun. And maybe that's something we'll do. Again, in the coming weeks, we'll pick another 3 players, right? So maybe Joe Ingles, after he got in that scuffle yesterday and said he slapped the S out of someone. Did you see that? That was pretty funny. He was pretty fired up. So.
Quietly, Josh Green doing some good things.
Doing some good things as well. Maybe he's someone we can definitely put on that list to talk about next. All right, so you ready to talk some NBL?
The hell yeah, man.
All right, cool. Let's do it. All right, so I thought we'd, before we talk about the round, Woods, I wanted to ask you, because you've been to 2 Sydney Kings games, in 4 days, I think it was. You've been busy going out there. You saw the game on Thursday night, and then you went to Pink Hoops round yesterday. So great initiative by the Kings there, and really good crowd there. Maybe we won't focus too much on the first game, but tell me how good that game was yesterday against the 36ers, how much you enjoyed that.
Well, before we talk about the game itself, I think this year, last few years, the McGrath Foundation has done a great job teaming up with the Sydney Kings, the Sydney Flames, and the basketball community.
Yeah.
I've been a big part of the Sydney Test match for the last 20 odd years, going there and supporting it. And it's not just breast cancer anymore; they're supporting all sorts of cancers, right? And this is something that's close to my heart. So, really good to see 20,000 people out there. I wore my hair out. I never wear my hair out, bro. So I wore my hair out. So it's to celebrate a special day, a carnival event. And it was great to see the Sydney community getting behind it, right? And I'm sure it's here to stay. First thing. Second thing, I think we bossed that game. Don't let that, what was a 6-point deficit at the end fool you.
Yeah.
Right? The Kings just look, I mean, we didn't even have Hunter Goodrick there, right? And you just played Tim Suarez and you threw different, gorgeous, he got an opportunity on Thursday night to throw a lot of different combinations out there against Tassie, right?
Yeah.
Just test a few things because Tassie were obviously depleted. That game, shout out to Tassie, man. They fought, Majok Deng went out early. This is a Thursday night game. Majok Deng went out early with a concussion. They lost. They're import, for the season. They already had Magne out. Yeah. But what that allowed is in a pretty easy game, it allowed Gorge to try a few different combinations, right? And he implemented some of those combinations with Torrey Craig in that game against Adelaide. And look, I've got a question for you, and I know it's been touched on in the media throughout the week, right? John Jenkins, is he the right guy for Adelaide, right? Because the thing is, he's an elite shooter, unbelievable, right? But you and me have spoken about this before, right? Troy Brown Jr. is an elite wing defender, right? And yes, he couldn't throw a pea in the ocean for the last 5 games, averaging 2 points a game. But we thought that they just get him right for the postseason, right? He's doing a great job defensively. They'll figure things out offensively, and they should just stick with him, right? John Jenkins, he comes in, he's going to give you, he's averaging 17 points a game, shooting some 50% from 3 or something ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't give you that wing defense, right? Is he the guy that Adelaide needed? Because you look at Sydney, they went and got Torrey Craig, who can stretch the floor, and he's an elite wing defender, right?
They got that need play. Look, I still like it for them, Woods. I still think they've got some guys that can play some amazing defense there, Cheatham, and they've got some really strong, banging, bruising bigs there as well, and even someone like Flynn Cameron, who's a really big, guard slash, maybe 3 if you want to play him there. So I do think they've got some people to cover it there, and I think he might be the sort of guy that can perhaps win them a playoff game or something like that, just off his own back. So I still like that one. It's fun to see him out there. Bryce, a little bit of an up and down weekend. He had the pretty bad game against New Zealand before he got the game winner, and then he was. I think Sydney have a pretty good game plan against him, don't they? If there's any way to slow down Bryce, you put a tall, long arm defender on.
Like Bull Cole or Torrey Craig.
Yeah, it's got to be the way going forward, right? That seems to be the way that teams have the most success. And not every teams have these sort of guys that are not only big with long arms that can actually stick with him. And Sydney seem to have found it out. What is that? 3 out of 4 that Sydney have beaten Adelaide this year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Look, they will have all the confidence if those teams meet up in the finals. So I thought that was pretty cool. So any more thoughts on the round? You wanted to ask me something before we get into this week's preview, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that incident with the Perth Wildcats at the very end there, I mean, for everyone who hasn't seen it, do you want to explain it quickly? You're the Perth correspondent.
So talk to us, right? Perth, they let that one slide. They've had a couple of home games like that this season. They were in control against the Melbourne United team. It's been a little bit up and down in form there, and just had a terrible last quarter. Could not put the ball in the basket there, and Melbourne, came back late and won it there. So after the buzzer there, I'd actually turned it off in disgust. I was so annoyed we lost, but Christian Doolittle and JLA had a bit of a slanging match, a bit of an argument out there. Look, to me, it's probably something that happens in locker rooms all the time. I mean, I've had that with teammates in the past sort of thing, and you move on sort of thing. But this seemed a little bit more personal to me. They were pointing fingers at each other. Really was, really Junior was holding back Doolittle, and I think maybe Latmay or Sunday was holding back JLA. And it wasn't good. There was fingers being pointed at each other. JLA apparently wasn't happy with the final shot that Doolittle took that didn't make it there. I was probably initially, when I saw it, maybe more annoyed with JLA just because his free throw shooting is just pissing me off so much. And if he thinks that he would have got the ball in that situation, well, guess what, mate? You already missed 5 free throws in that game. So would we really go to someone that's basically just a liability from the free throw line? But some concerns, I thought. It was a bit disappointing that it sort of masked that really good win streak that the Wildcats had. They were really getting some momentum, and now it seems like all the haters are out there, all the people, crapping on John Riley and his coaching and other stuff like that. But what was your take on seeing that? Is this just an incident they'll move on from?
Well, 3 things that have just come out recently. I'm not I mean, the Riley press conference, when he hadn't actually seen it, he said, look, I don't mind a little bit of emotion. Emotion is great at the end of the game. But
Yeah.
to your point, you should probably wait till it gets to the locker room so it's not on view for the general public to see, right?
Yeah.
Really said that, right? Olgun said today, Olgun Oleg said today, this is from inside the camp. I know this is a problem between those two. These two have been arguing since
Yeah.
the Blitz.
Hey, they're
They
both
have
hotheads as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
They really
they've
are.
not got along. They've had many incidents just like this, right?
Yeah.
That have occurred over the season, right? And for this to happen on the court, right,
Yeah.
means that it just came to head, right? Like they've had enough. The fact they couldn't wait till the locker room means they were just so annoyed at each other that they had to come at each other on the court in view of the general public. And I don't care what anyone says, emotion is. It's not a good look, man. It shows like fractures
No.
within the locker room and
Well,
things
what
like
about
that.
a Wildcat staff member trying to cover the camera with a piece of
Yeah,
paper?
it's
I mean,
like-
that's kind of not on, is it? That was interesting.
And the third thing is Doolittle came out just about an hour or two ago,
Okay.
and said, it was all me, man. I'm the one who started everything. I'm the one who initiated everything, and it was and JLA was just responding to me. So I apologized to him. We've put it behind us now, right?
Okay.
So yeah,
Positive spin. I mean, if they can move on, then I guess we can move on, sort of thing. I mean, maybe sometimes, maybe he was told to do that. Maybe get out and sort of get in front of the press and make that sort of comment like that. But hopefully they can bounce back. They've got a big game coming up on Wednesday night. Got to say, I hate the 9:30 Wednesday night games. So I've got to get up early for work the next day. They're a tough
United Cup
game
games
to
tomorrow.
watch there. So yeah, all right. Well, yeah, mixed fortunes for our teams, and the Kings, run continues there. But let's talk about this round coming up. I don't think there's as many games as there. It was a good round last week. 10 games with every team playing twice, and what are we? 4 weeks left in the regular season. I'll have to get some tickets for this Wildcats Kings game that's coming up in February. I'll have to start thinking about that. So yeah, a few less games. Take it away.
all right. Let's start with. Oh man, let's just talk about the Bullets and 36ers tomorrow. The Bullets are an absolute disgrace at the moment.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Absolute disgrace. They were down by 50 yesterday.
Is that right? I didn't watch a minute of that game. I only saw the final score. I did not know.
They were
that.
down
So,
by 51 or 52, and luckily for a 14-0 run at the end, it came to 38, right?
Hey, Woods, I figured I'd watch 9 games this round. And when I saw that game, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. So, wow, I mean, probably not much to say about this one, is it? This could be a pretty ugly game. Adelaide will be wanting to bounce back from that loss against Sydney as well.
Probably get John Jenkins into your Supercoach team this week.
Yeah,
he might
maybe.
put up a few points there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bullets just haven't played a great brand of basketball for a number of years, man. It's not a great product that people want to go and see, and that's a serious concern for that franchise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Man, this is going to be great. Wildcats versus SEM at home, 9:30. I know it's a late game, but I'm sure it'll be up for that. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, Wildcats beat them on their home court, maybe two weeks ago, I think. It wasn't long ago, was it? So, the Fangs will be wanting a bit of revenge. I think Wildcats will be wanting to start taking care of some of these games at home, Woods. I mean, we've looked at seasons, maybe not to the last couple of seasons, but maybe Trevor Gleeson days, right? When they would lose 1, 2, maybe 3 games the whole season at home. They're about 50% at home this year, which is a bit of a concern. So I think they want to start winning games like this. Obviously, they feel like they match up well against the Phoenix. They've done it recently against them. So yeah, I mean, without looking at the rest of the round, I mean, this is probably game of the week, I'd say. And in fact, unless you take the other Southeast game, a couple of big games for them, but this is a cracker of a Wednesday night game.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think I want the Wildcats to do us a bit of a favor and beat SEM, which will allow the Kings to potentially clinch their top 2 spots. The Kings versus Hawks, the freeway, what's it called? You tell me, man. You know the names of these things.
I don't know. The two teams.
Yeah,
that's why you're not playing basketball again this Thursday. What?
Yeah, no, I've got plantar fasciitis in my left leg.
You love
Remember that,
telling
bro?
me that too.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Yeah, well, I mean, look, Illawarra is still in it now, aren't they? I mean, the door's more than open now, I would have thought. And, Tasmania was just a shocking luck with injuries there. So Illawarra will be fired up. And, I'm picking Sydney for this game, but it's probably a bit of a danger game for the Kings, right? And they've got 2 games as well this week. But, yeah, a bit of a danger game.
Yeah, look, it's not a must-win game for the Kings, but it'll help us to get that top 2 spot. But whereas the Hawks, a win here will really put them in a position to get that.
Who's going to guard JaVale in that game, right? Sydney a bit of an undersized team, aren't they?
And Hunter Goodrick, I'm not sure if he's even
He's
fit
not going to be
to
out
even
there
have
to annoy McGee like he always
2
does.
centers. I mean, you can't have Suarez. And it's just a McGee. McGee and Froling, man. They've been doing really well.
Yeah.
The Hawks have really decided not to play them together, and they're going 22 and 16, 22 and 18 minutes and things like that for the 2 centers. And they've been successful. The win against the Bullets isn't much to look into, but and the win against Tasmania was less than convincing. Did you watch that game?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So I think the Kings should get it done. But yeah, you're right. That's a big problem there. If they actually make a focus of the big men inside, Kings could struggle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Breakers versus United. Sam Meninga out for the season now. Let's just touch on that real quickly. Poor
Yeah, that's
guy.
tough. He had such a good year. We spoke about him last week, potential future NBA prospects and that. But that was a shame. I saw that injury in that game against Adelaide. He knew he'd hurt something there. So that's a shame. I'm loving some of the plays. Some of those dunks he did this year, he was just throwing it down over people. So, that's a shame. And New Zealand are pretty injury hit as well. So I think, it'll probably maybe a comfortable win over there, even though they have some injury concerns of their own, don't they, with the Newport guard out.
Yeah, they should get it done. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He's going to be out for a bit, right? And it looks like Shea Ali might be back soon, so they might have some help there. So Jack Jumpers versus Taipans. I mean, Jack Jumpers are decimated. Not sure if Majok Deng is back. Archie Woodhill started the other night, right?
I don't think so with Dengwoods. And what's unfortunate with some of these injuries, guys like Meninga and guys like Bryce Hamilton, is the teams can't replace them now. I think there is some special exemption they can try and apply from the league. I think it's
I've got rejected already.
Yeah, okay, so fair enough. So I mean, I feel for Tasmania this year. Sean McDonald got injured in the Asia Cup. Magnay's out, and Deng went down in that game. Bryce Hamilton, who had a really good season, right? Bryce Hamilton was a chance for maybe if not an All NBL first team, an All NBL second team.
Still maybe.
Yeah, no, they've got some heart this team, Wood. So maybe they'll sort of galvanise together and get a win. And who knows what you're going to get from Cairns each week.
Yeah, definitely. And then for you, like personally, the Wildcats, they're probably going to come fifth now. Let's be real, right? It's likely. Would you prefer if you were a fifth seed to play the Hawks or the Jack Jumpers?
Oh, Jack Jumpers without a doubt.
Totally, exactly. So go Jack Jumpers for you that game, right?
Yeah.
Yep, 36ers versus SEM. This is probably the game of the round, actually, man. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's Wildcats and Southeast. But, you've been a hater. No, it's definitely a 1A 1B type situation. There's a cracking game coming up. Both teams obviously play before this one as well, so this is still a pretty big round of games there. But yeah, looking forward to that one, and probably a good time, isn't it? That Saturday sort of first game there, and yeah, looking forward to that one for sure.
Like if the Kings can beat the Hawks and the Taipans, and then SEM can lose to the Wildcats and the 36ers, it's great for the Kings, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
I'm going to pick SEM for this one. I'm going to say Perth beat them on Wednesday, and I'm going to say they bounce back. They won't go 0-2. I wouldn't have thought with the way they're playing, but yeah, maybe Adelaide drop a home game there.
All right, and I'm gonna bet against you guys. I think the Hawks are gonna win at home against you Wildcats at 8:00 on Saturday. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough one, isn't it? I went to that game. Was it last year? Now I think it was when mate, it was. Shout out to our good mate Paul Fox for gifting me those tickets for that game. But as a Wildcats fan, man, that was tough. They went down by 30 plus in that game, and yeah, Illawarra is coming a little bit good. Like you mentioned, the big combinations looking pretty good there, and JLA against JaVale McGee were pretty good fun one to watch. But I'll say the Wildcats in that one, but a little bit nervous on that one for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm going to go the Hawks in a tight one. Jack Jumpers, Breakers, geez.
Wow. Down to the two injured teams. I mean, look, Tasmania for me, probably not one I'm going to be spending a lot of time watching. I might maybe join the second game. And not the greatest marquee games on a Sunday, I would have thought.
Breakers just coming across the Tasman to play the Jack Jumpers, one of their shorter trips, right? So
yeah.
Okay, cool. Taipans, Kings. Yeah, I mean, surely the Kings take care of business here by 20, 30 points, right?
Yeah, so two teams. I mean, look, we saw them play recently. It was a massive win by Sydney. So, yeah, good chance for Sydney if they can, get that win against Illawarra Thursday night to get a pretty good double and, continue to move up that ladder there, right? So that's going to be the big, shaking with the positions there and how who makes the playoffs, who makes the play in there. So exciting games ahead. So yeah, another big round coming up, Woods. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some true and false and we'll get out of here. I know we did classic packs last week. We'll probably hold it off for another week. I know we don't have a lot of packs, so we'll just do the true or false, Woods. All right. So the first one. With the news that Giannis will be out at least 4 to 6 weeks, the Bucks should do all they can to play younger guys and improve their lottery odd chances for next season. Two things before you answer, Wood. One thing that they potentially do over the Hawks, a draft pick, that courtesy of New Orleans, there's a few connotations that come out of that one that we need to look into a bit further there. Also, Glenn Rivers came out today and said that it's probably not 4 to 6 weeks. It's probably longer. So as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, is he coming back this season? But anyway, true or false? They should play their younger guys and try and improve their lottery odds.
Who are the younger guys, bro? I want you to answer that question. AJ Green, Jericho Sims?
Yeah.
Which younger guys?
Fair call.
All right.
Yeah, fair call.
Gary Harris? Right?
Yeah,
come on, there's no younger guys worth
developing on that roster. Come on.
Ryan Rollins, yes, play him out there. At the trade deadline, just maybe get some assets, man. Maybe. Get rid of some of these guys that Gary Harris, for example.
They had a young guy and they traded him at the last off-season trade deadline for Kyle Kuzma, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean Kuzma, all these guys, Bobby Portis, whoever else is on that. Yeah, but all these guys, you might as well just get rid of them if you're gonna get rid of Giannis. gut this roster, bring some assets in, bring
Yeah.
some young guys in on other teams, like a Jonathan Mobo, who's not playing
Yeah.
in Toronto, who's got a real
Yeah.
great upside. Bring some of those like pieces in there, and then you can develop some youngsters, right?
So I'm taking that's a true from you with an asterisk saying they don't have any younger guys.
Yes.
So I'll take that. All right,
Yes,
fair
yes.
enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, second one. Newly signed Christian Koloko is the big man that Atlanta have been searching for all season.
I mean, that's a stretch. I'm gonna say false. He did go 6 from 6 today, and
He was awesome today. Couple
I
of blocks.
love what he brings to the table, right? But I think it's a stretch to say that this early on in the piece. But I really like what he's bringing to the table.
I'm loving what he's bringing. It's 3 games so far. He's hit a couple of threes. There was a play today that Dominique was absolutely loving it. He blocked a shot, ran down the other end, and put in a pretty big dunk. So I'm really impressed. Right, 6'11". Very surprised that the Hawks have put Dyson down to the G League. That was a bit of a shock, right? Apparently he's going well there, but that's a shock. I reckon that could be a bit of a sign from Quinn Snyder. No, we need you to maybe be a bit more professional and go down there for a bit. But Christian Koloko, I mean, surprising what he's done. He's been on a couple of rosters, this season alone. I think he's in the last couple of years he's been with the Lakers, he's been with Toronto, he's been with Memphis now. So coming over early days, I'm going to say true for that one. Woods, I'm all aboard the Koloko train.
Let me make a comparison to you. Adem Bona out in Philly, or Christian Koloko.
Yeah.
Who would you prefer?
Mate, Christian Koloko, he's a future All-Star. No, maybe not. But anyway, I'm liking what he's doing so far. Yeah, it's an interesting comparison for sure.
Yeah.
All right, true and false. The red hot Chicago Bulls might finally end up out of the play-in and in the playoffs. So, and just with that one, Wood, since 2016, they've made it twice into the playoffs, 2017, 2022. So, true or false, they might finally make it out of the play-in and in the playoffs.
I'm going to say false, man. I think Orlando, Miami, our Hawks are all just around there, right? We've got the Charlotte Hornets coming, man. Look at them today, right?
Yeah, another big win. When they win big, the Hornets.
Right. And then Toronto, but I guess Toronto and Philly, how is Toronto, what are they, 30-19 or 29-19? How is this even happening? That is not going to stick. I cannot believe that's going to stick, right? So,
I must admit, I wrote this question a couple of days ago, and I don't know why I've changed. They're going to be a play-in team again.
I'm going to go false. They're going to be in the play-in. They're going to be 7, 8, 9, 10. One of
with
those
Charlotte, because Milwaukee might drop out. So, yeah, interesting.
And I saw today that Kane Pittman and Olgun Ulick on the...
Hey, you're giving a lot of shout-outs to these guys this week.
Who's basketball
hour? You for this or what? Yeah.
No, I just listened to the show today, and they had the same question, true or false, the Charlotte Hornets are going to make the play-in, and they both were like, nah.
So they obviously listened to our show the last few weeks. To get
yeah, I'm like, no, you're wrong, man. Look at this. Look at it, man. Milwaukee's decimated. I think they got a good chance.
Right. This last true and false question for the week, Woods, is right up your alley. It's a simple one. Sydney Kings will make the NBL Grand Final this season.
I'm going to have to say true. And like for a guy who said they were going to be the 6th seed this year, barely make the playoffs, I got to give it to you, man. You saw something in my team that I didn't. And I got to give Gorge a shout out, man. Like, straight up.
You were pretty critical of him last year, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, not as critical as everyone else, like on all the keyboard warriors and stuff. I was very level-headed about it. I'm like, look, if we don't see that, this is a results-based industry. If we don't see results soon from Gorge, as much as I love the guy, we got to think about moving on, right? And he's just been amazing. And
so Kings are in the grand final. As of right now, who do you think they're playing?
SEM.
SEM, okay. Ooh, Adelaide with that star-studded big dollar roster, right? You think they won't make it?
Defensively, they've been a real liability. This last 5 games, look at the metrics, man, right?
Yeah.
And that's a serious concern, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, nice. All right, I appreciate that, Woods. That was a fun show, right? So before we go to the outro, I meant to mention this in NBA and we didn't. Can we give a quick 1 minute on Allen Iverson? I think we need to. There's been a lot of news coming out about Allen Iverson. He was out here for Hoops Fest and then doing a lot of paid appearances, plus a few sort of charity ones, right? There's a lot of things, Culture Kings, throwbacks, whatever. I'll give you my thoughts first, Woods. I've been disgusted by that guy's behaviour and what he's done over here. The reports came out that he was visiting a cancer ward. You're talking 10-year-old kids that are dealing with cancer, going through chemotherapy, Woods. And I'm getting fired up as I'm saying this because it really made me angry reading that. And he just ditched him, right? His security, entourage, whatever, said he was having a bad day. Probably code for, had a few too many the night before, or a few too many puffs on the day that he was supposed to be going there. But really disappointing, Woods. I think it was a really bad look for the NBA. I think Chris Anstey spoke really well when he didn't turn up to that event in Melbourne. Then he didn't turn up to other stuff. So really disappointing. I mentioned it last week. Overrated player, and I don't reckon he's the greatest human being either, Woods. That's probably me maybe being a bit harsh because I read that thing and it annoyed me so much today. But give me some thoughts on Allen Iverson and what your thoughts were on this visit to Australia.
firstly, I talked about the McGrath Foundation and the event that they put on, right? Everyone just was selfless and came together to support people. But these are kids, right? And I guess the only thing I'll say to these kids is, find someone else to like idolize, look up to, right?
Yeah.
Someone who sets a better example. You don't need people like that. I mean, it's tough to imagine what these kids are going through, right?
Yeah.
But there are better role models out there for you to look up to, and don't be disheartened by this guy and his actions. That's all I can say.
And they say sometimes, in life in general, whether it's sportsmen, celebrities, never meet your heroes. Look, I think there's some exceptions to that rule. I've met some heroes over the years and have been just amazing people. He's certainly not one of them. Get back to America, Iverson. We don't want you here. All right. On that positive note, we'll take it to the outro, Wood. So really appreciate your time this week, doing all that homework and all those Aussies in the NBA and putting that extra big, long holiday you've got to use, right, and coming prepared. So 2 more weeks, we're doing the 200 show. Still not sure if we're going to get a guest on that week or we'll just do the two of us there, but we'll certainly work that out in the next 2 weeks. But, yeah, as I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We can be followed on socials. The main one there is at X, at Throwback Hoops. So we'll get some of these cool jerseys there, and we'll definitely get this little Tim Hardaway Jr. game-worn relic card up there. Patreon, anyone that wants to pledge us, we do have a lot of subscribers and support there. If you want to pledge $1 a week or whatever it is there to help out with our costs, must admit, Woods, all these costs, every cost we're doing seems to have gone up, right? All the different services we do.
Inflation, bro, inflation.
It is. It's inflation, right? So if anyone wants to help out, we greatly appreciate that. And yeah, I'll throw it to you for any final words. Let's finish on a positive note since I got so grumpy before about Iverson. What's some positive things we can finish on here?
I mean, such a great round in the NBL. Great crowds coming in. But like I would say Hoops Fest.
Yeah.
Right? Great event. People came together, and then followed by Hoops Fest, we had the McGrath Foundation event, right?
Yeah.
So we had Pink Hoops in Sydney. We had Hoops Fest before. It's a carnival of basketball. People coming together who love the game, and then most recently for a better cause. So positive note is the 2 great events that were just happened last couple of weeks.
For sure. And our Atlanta Hawks, winners of 3 games in a row now. Are we still a chance to go all the way this season or what?
No.
Okay, come on, I said positive, but no, it's probably getting carried away. But it's good to see him winning anyway. And good luck to everyone. I hope your team has a win this round. Get out and support the NBL locally, and obviously enjoy the NBA that's taking place now. I think we'll be having the All-Star break soon, so that's probably maybe next week. Woods, we can pick our All-Star reserves. That's on your run sheet for next week, right? The All-Star reserves, which you always enjoy doing there. So. All right, well, yeah, really enjoyed it. Can't wait to do it all again next week, and it's a big peace out from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Peace out, guys.